Cochran Law Firm, of course. Brian, always a pleasure to see you on the show. Thank you for lending us your insight and expertise. I can't wait to just get your general assessment of this one because, woo, this case is a doozy with so many facts. Share with me what you're thinking ahead of opening day here, please.
Well, you certainly have a wonderful yarn here to talk about, Julie. This case, as you indicated, has layers. It's almost as if it weren't true. People might think that it was something that was scripted for a movie. But one of the interesting things that's going on here is there's so many dynamics that are happening even before the jury is being impaneled. There was a critical ruling that this judge just made with regard to the statement of an individual that's no longer alive. And in that particular moment, what he has to do is he has to make a judgment call as to the strength of the prosecution's case before one witness has even been sworn. And by saying that this particular defendant, Mr. Martin, may have had a role or had a role, more than likely not had a role in causing this person's death, therefore allowing this testimony to come in, he's going against a judge and a prosecutor now, and he knows that the judge thinks that he is more likely than not guilty and that that's going to color that judge's ruling. That's serious. That's pretty serious.
Sure is. Brian, what did you think about the court's ruling, allowing that hearsay to come in? Because it's tricky. It is tricky. What do you think? Do you think the judge made the right call in allowing the state to present it?
I would not have made that decision at that time yet. I think that the judge might have been able to defer ruling on this particular issue, instruct the prosecution not to mention anything about this during the opening statement. A lot of time when judges are on the fence, they say, we're going to see how the evidence shakes out, and we're going to defer ruling till later, but you have to promise not to mention anything about this in the opening statement because I may not let it in. That's the decision that I would have made under the circumstances. But I'm not in the courtroom, and I think that judge might know some things that neither you or I know, Julie.
That's a great point. I really like how you think, though. That would have been a really conservative way to do it. Just, hey, let's wait, let's reserve ruling and see how the case shakes out. Certainly no harm, no foul there. For our viewers who just might be joining us, we do have that clip where the state is laying out those statements that are going to be presented in their case in chief. Let's take a look at that together now.
Calvin Phillips told him a week before he died that Kit Martin was going to kill him because he was going to court against him on serious charges. And Steve Bollinger's statement would be that Calvin wanted to let him know if he ever came up dead or missing, he was worried about the situation he was in with the court-martial of Christian Martin. He told Steve Bollinger, go to the authorities and point them to Mr. Martin if I ever come up missing or dead. The declarant Pamela Phillips' statement to a coworker that she and her husband were not traveling to Michigan for Thanksgiving because of fear that Christian Martin might be in their home waiting for them when they return home. She specifically said to the coworker, if something happens to me, tell the authorities to look at Christian Martin.
Eerie statements. Brian, what do you think hearing those?
Yeah, eerie is an understatement. I mean, this is the type of, it's really chilling because on the one hand, you have to look at the rule of law here. And this is definitely an out-of-court statement. But I think what the judge may be trying to do is what is the right thing to do. And even though a person is no longer living, you have to consider the concept that this is something they may have wanted to happen. It's extremely rare that in a case of homicide, the person will have a foreshadowing of how their demise will play out. So there must have been something to make them do that. However, it's such devastating evidence, Julia. It's so powerful that it has the effect of literally trumping whatever the defense may try to put up. Because when they hear, there's not only the sympathy factor that's at play here, but when they hear that you have not one but two people saying this, it's almost as if the jury is going to be inclined to believe that, well, he must be guilty. I think that the focus might be on why are they saying these things? What has happened? that has led these two individuals to conclude that this is going to be a likely situation in which they may die. But it's very chilling, to say the least.
It really is. I think we're going to hear some fascinating stories being told by both sides, really in just about an hour from now. So perhaps we'll get a better understanding of what was going on here with all of these folks. Brian Dunn, I am thrilled that you're on the program today and going to be able to help us analyze the Martin case and also the Durst case. We have our field producer, Adrian, there. We're waiting for things to pick up. We're going to squeeze in a break right now. Don't go anywhere. Court TV Live continues with live coverage of two major trials right after this.
You know, this is the evil part of it all.
An all-new true crime series.
It was justifiable homicide.
I swung the hammer and I hit her.
And I just fired the gun.
This is the whole truth.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
Behind the true crime.
Something wicked this way comes. Something wicked this way comes.
Judgment with Ashley Banfield. All new episodes Sunday nights at 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
This is Court TV.
What a day it has been as we continue our gavel-to-gavel coverage.
Is there reasonable doubt? We'll find out.
Welcome back to Court TV Live.
Your front row seat to justice.
We're gonna go deep.
We drove across the state to get here. We're working hard to get you the news you need.
We dig a little deeper on the stories of the day
That's why we're here.
to help start making sense of it all.
This is true crime all the time.
We continue our gavel-to-gavel coverage.
We are live in courtrooms across the country.
This is what I love to do. I'm Vinnie Politan. You know, I stood before a jury on both sides of the courtroom. First as a prosecutor, then as a defense attorney. But with Court TV, you're the jury. You see every moment of testimony.
Y'all know I didn't do this.
Every story unfolds
I'm sorry for my crime.
until a verdict is rendered and justice is served.
The all-new Court TV. Your front row seat to justice.
Race, psychology, technology, reality. Video games are changing the world in ways you may not realize.